I have shared my screen. Please let me know if you people could not able to see that. So yesterday we were talking about Vara 1 5 error and what are the solutions that we can apply all those things. So today let us start with the commands on how to create undo table space, and we will be discussing about how to create the temporary table space and the rest of the things. So let us go and look into the first thing. Okay, so we have the command on how to create undo table space like this. So it's the command is similar to the other table space creations. Only the thing is you need to mention your a keyword called undo over here. And as we discussed in last class, if you want to know what is the current undo table space that is in action, you need to use this command show parameter undo underscore table space. So right now my undo table space is undo tvs1, but if I want to change this, then we can do that with the help of changing the value of this parameter by using alter system set command, and we need to say my undo. So you can use any scope here because this is a dynamic parameter. So what I am doing now is I am replacing this undo tvs1 with another undo table space which I have created, that is my undo. So that means from now onwards, whoever the users performing transactions, they would be using this undo table space instead of the original undo table space. So Oracle will give you the flexibility of changing the undo table space name at any moment of time. But as we already looked into a point yesterday, even though we have 10 undo table spaces, but out of those 10 undo table spaces, only one will be used at a time. So that is one point that we need to remember. Let us go and see the commands on how to create a temporary table space. So for that also the command will be similar. Just you are going to add this keyword, and instead of data file, because this is temporary table space, you are going to say temp file, and you can give any name. So this is how you are going to create a temporary table space. Now one new concept that we have in 10G is something called temporary table space group. So what exactly is this temporary table space group is? Usually what Oracle suggests is, if at all you have 10 users in the database, all the 10 users should have their own temp table spaces. Like user 1 should have its own temp table space, user 2 should have its own temp table space, user 3 should have its own temp table space. Like that, how many users are there in the database? All of them should have independent temp table spaces. But sometimes it may not be possible, because if you have 10 or 20 users, then it's fine. But if you have somewhere like 200 users or 1000 users and all, it would be a problem to create those many temporary table spaces. So that's the reason 10G got introduced with a concept called temp table space group. Now what you can do is, you can create 5 or 6 temporary table spaces, or I'm just taking the figure as 5 or 6. So you can create some temporary table spaces and you can make them to sit into a group, or you can make all of these table spaces to come under one roof, and we call it as temporary table space group. And what you can do is you can assign this particular temporary table space group to all the users, so that every user will be having the authority of accessing all the 5 table spaces which are there in the group. So basically, instead of allocating one particular table space for the users, you are going to allocate multiple temp table spaces, and for this you are going to just combine all those 5 with the help of temporary table space group concept. And in Oracle, there is no separate command to create a temporary table space group. While creating the temporary table space itself, you need to create the group also, or you need to mention the group name also. Let us go and look into that particular command. So this is the command on to create temporary table space and group also. So this command is going to create temporary table space by the name temp_tbs, and at the same time it is going to create a group also by the name grp1. And under this grp1, temp_tbs is the first table space that we have. So if we want to know more information about temporary table space groups, then we have this particular view db_tablespace_groups. So it will list you how many groups are there, and under each group how many table spaces are there. And suppose now you want this temporary table space to go to this particular group, then you can say this command alter table space name, table space group name. So that means basically I am moving this my temp also to this particular group. So what happens then is, in the same group you will be having 2 temporary table spaces. So like this, basically we can move a temporary table space from one group to another group, all those things. So anybody is having any queries? The advantage of temp table space group is, as I said, instead of each user should be getting only one particular temp table space. So instead of that, if we assign a group, suppose if I assign this group grp1 to the user, then what happens is that user can for that user it is possible to use both mytemp and temp_tbs. Otherwise, what we need to do is we need to assign only one table space. So here what we are doing is, instead of one table space, we are assigning 2 table spaces with the help of this group concept. So not exactly, we cannot say it is going to give any better performance. Why? Because this is not for performance improvement or something like that. The concept is just to avoid the space issues we are going to have it. For example, I will say I will say one thing, like let's say I have allocated this mytemp. So I have allocated this mytemp to some user like user1. Just a minute. So suppose I have allocated this MyTemp table space to user 1, and user 1 is doing some heavy transaction. Temp table space will be used whenever we are doing some sorting operation. So assume user 1 is doing some heavy sorting, and whatever MyTemp space is already full. Then what happens is user will get an error. So if user get an error that space is not there in MyTemp table space, then as a DB either we need to add a temp file or we need to resize the existing file. So instead of that, if I allocate both MyTemp and temp TVS, if the space in MyTemp is full, then automatically this user can use temp TVS. So that is the advantage that we have with this temporary table space group. So is that point clear for you? Okay. So coming to your question, Sanjay, as I said earlier, MV command is the OS level command. So whatever you do at OS level, Oracle will not understand it. That is what yesterday also I have discussed about it. So whatever you do at Oracle level, OS will not understand it. Whatever you do at Oracle level, OS will not understand it. So that's the reason we can't use MV command over here. Basically, all these things we are doing in Oracle level, so we need to use Oracle commands only. Okay, so fine. Anybody is having any more queries? So then in your class notes you have commands on how to add a temp file, how to resize a temp file, all that information is there. Then we have the concept called table space encryption. So this table space encryption is a new feature in 11G, so it was not there in 10G also. So the advantage of encryption or table space encryption is basically to hide the data. So encryption means you people already know that. So what an encryption will do? So encryption basically is going to change the data into non-human readable format. So this concept is there in 11G onwards, that you can make entire table space as encrypted. So if you feel that there are some tables which are important and the data should not be visible to others, then you can make all those tables to come and sit into this encrypted table space. So that anybody who tries to access, apart from the owner of the table, if anybody others tries to hack the data from the table or something like that, it would not be possible for them to read and understand the data because it will be encrypted. So can you people give any example what kind of information can be kept into encrypted table space? Means what kind of tables can be put into encrypted table space in our daily life? So some real-time tables we can mention, like we can make them to go into encrypted table space. So anybody can give an example? Okay, so internet banking passwords. Okay. So any other thing? Because usually we don't store passwords inside a table. So passwords should not be stored inside a table. So that's the reason I don't think that will be followed by encrypted table space. So any other example? Addresses? No, I don't feel address is such an important data that you should do an encryption. When you are doing encryption means the data is having the utmost value. So that's the key point over there. Okay, so the best example that we can do is your credit card details. So whenever you get a credit card, all that information bank will be maintaining in a table, like under the credit card number, what is the name of the person who holds the credit card, and every credit card will be having a CVV number. If you turn back the credit card, then there will be a 3-digit number. I mean, at least in India, I am talking about. So, all those details will be stored in a table, and because these credit card details are very or should be highly secure, then we will be having this information in encrypted table space. So before first two pages are going to talk about the encrypted table space functionality, and if you directly jump into the command, this is the command that we are going to use, which says create table space name, data file location, and then size. And in the next line you are going to write down encryption default storage, in the bracket again you say encrypt. So that means you want to encrypt your table space, or the table space whatever you are going to create, you want that to be in encrypted mode. So that is what you mean to say. And by default, whenever you have this encryption in place, there will be some encryption algorithms. So similarly, Oracle also has some algorithms in place. If you look at the next paragraph, you can read that point. So it says the storage clause encrypt tells the database to encrypt the new table space, and the clause encryption tells the database to use the default encryption algorithm. So the default encryption algorithm name is DES128, and apart from DES128 you can specify other alternate algorithms also, such as 3DS168, AES128 or AES256. So all these are encryption algorithms, and it depends on when you go for DS128, that will provide a little bit encryption, and when you go for AES128, AES256, then it will provide much more encryption. So for hackers, it will be a difficult task to decrypt whatever the data it is. So we have that different encryption algorithms. And here again we have one more create table space command, but this time we are using a specific encryption table space or encryption algorithm. You can see that in the second line. We say encrypt my table space using 3DS168. So specifically you are mentioning like what is the encryption algorithm that Oracle should follow. If you don't specify anything, by default it will take DS128. So that is what basically encryption algorithm is. Even though it is having much advantage in kind of security implementations and all, but I'm not sure, in my experience I have not seen people using this particular encryption feature in 11G databases. Don't know what is the reason, but still even in banking sector also I have seen people are not using this particular feature. So that's the reason it will be least ignored in real time. So anybody is having any queries? And even if you don't practice encrypted table space also, it is fine, because we are not going to use that in real time. So let us move to the next concept, that is Oracle managed files. And the name itself is going to tell you that whatever the data files or redo log files or control files you are going to create in the database, those will be managed automatically by Oracle, and that is the concept we call it as Oracle Managed Files, and shortly we call it as OMF. So that is where you can see in the first point it says OMF gives the flexibility in managing the control files, redo logs and data files. And when using Oracle Managed Files, Oracle will automatically create the file in the specified location, and even it will delete the file at OS level whenever it is dropped. So if you remember, we have seen some points like when you drop a table space with a command drop table space name, then it is not going to remove the file at OS level. Only it is going to remove the information from the dictionary. So similarly, but when you use OMF concept, even though you have ran that command, immediately the file will be deleted at OS level also. And to use OMF, you need to declare these two parameters at database level. One is db create file list and another one is db create online log list. So let me show you how it is going to work. So you can see db create file list and db create online log list, so which are showing blank values over there. So I am setting these parameters. So I am pointing that to U01 or R10G or R data, and scope you can use anything because this is a dynamic parameter. So after setting these two, if you see, you can see the new values here. Now this gives the advantage for us in issuing the commands. For example, if you want to create a redo log group now, you are going to use this command alter database add log file group. I am just showing the old command once, then I will come back to new command. Okay, so this is the regular command that we use, but when we are using OMF, then we can use the commands like this. So we don't require to specify any path because already we have specified the path. Then what about the file name? Because this is Oracle managed file, even the name of the file also will be taken away by Oracle itself. And now you can see so you can see the thing over here. So you have given U01 ORA10G ORA data. Under that, Oracle has created one directory by the name ProdDB. Then again one more directory by the name online log, and under that it has taken very long file name. So this is what usually Oracle will do. And you know it already, when you drop a redo log group, then the files will still be there at OS level. But in case of this particular Oracle managed file, even the file also will be deleted at OS level. So that is the option that we have. And even creating the table space command also will become easy. So you can see that I have not specified any location or the file name because location is already predefined in the above parameters, and the name of the file, as I said, will be taken by Oracle automatically. Only thing is you need to just specify that size, whatever the size you want. And even in this case, if you drop the table space, even the file will be deleted at OS level. Or if you drop this particular redo log group, so you will be observing that this file will not be there at OS level. So you can see it is saying no such file or directory. So this is the advantage of VMware. But the problem is the naming convention. Here, having the redo log file names like redo 014A 4B, or having your data file names with table space name and a number. So all these will be easy. And when you go for this OMS concept, it will be somewhat difficult. So to realize the file names and all. So that's the reason usually we don't use this in real time. Or I can say 93% you will not use this in real time. In very rare environments, like you will be having this option. So that's about OMS. Anyone is having any questions? So let us go to the next concept, that is user management. So in this we are going to look into how to create a user, then how to assign the privileges to the user. First of all, how many privileges are there for the user. So we will see all those things. So starting with the first point, user creation should be done after clearly understanding the requirement from the application team. So whatever the requirement that comes from application team, you need to analyze that requirement, and based on that only you need to create a user. So sometimes what happens is, even though if there is no requirement to create a user, application team will just ask you to create the user. So in such cases you should not do that, and you should straight away tell them that it is not possible. So you should have a genuine or valid reason in order to create one user. And basically there are two terms that we will be hearing in real time. One is a schema and the second one is user. Now many books will say that the name schema and the name user are interrelated, or act as synonyms, but frankly there is a difference between them. So what exactly is a schema means? Schema is a collection of objects. That is what the book definition says. And whereas the user means it is going to access the data of the other schemas. For example, today I have created one user Pavan, then that will be a user. That's it. And inside Pavan or under the user of Pavan, if I create one table, then Pavan will become the owner of that table, and from that movement onwards we can call Pavan as a schema but not as a user. That means schema means it should be owner of some object, whereas you have user means that is not necessary that user should have ownership on a particular object. So that is the advantage, that is the difference between a schema and a user. And point number three says, whenever we create a user, we should assign that user with a default permanent table space, and which is to create the tables on that particular user, and we need to even assign a temporary table space also. So temporary table space, it is going to allow for the sorting purpose, you already know that, and at any moment of time we can always change them. That means today if I feel like I don't require this particular undo permanent table space, I can change that to some other table space. So all that is possible through this user management. And suppose point number 4 says, suppose if you have not assigned any default table space, then automatically Oracle will take some default values, and to see those default values we can use a view called database underscore properties. And below in the command section I have given the select query on how I need to select it. So I am just showing that from database underscore properties view. The same select query is there in your class notes also. So you can see the default values are users. For default permanent table space, the default value is users, and for default temp table space, the table space name is temp. So you can directly change this to any value. So whatever the value that you want, you can change either both the temp table space and permanent table space also. And that is what here 4th point says. And 5th point says, if you want to create a user, if we want a user to create a table and all, we need to assign the quota on the table space. Like quota is nothing but you are going to specify how much space a user can use in the table space. So that is meant by quota. And after creating the user, point number 6 says, after creating the user we should grant privileges, and the privileges for a user are of two types. One is system level privileges. So that means any privilege that is used to modify the system here in the sense it is database, and examples are like create table, create view, etc. And the second one you have is object level privileges, and this is basically to access other schema objects. Like if you have one schema and under that there is a table and you want to access that, in such case you need to have first of all permission on that particular table. In such case you would be going for this particular object level privileges. And examples, as you can see, it will be like update on A and update on B. So insert on C, something like that. So this is how it is going to work. If anyone is having any queries before we proceed for further points? Okay, so let me create one user and let me show you how that is going to work. And for the naming conventions, I am taking the username as Kanna1. And password also I am giving the same. Now, if we try to connect as this user to the database, Let me try to connect as that user. So now you can see it is going to throw an error saying that user doesn't have create session privilege. So until unless user doesn't have that privilege, it is not possible for the user to connect to the database. So we need to grant that permission first. So I am granting it here in the other window. Okay. And now if you say, it will get connected. So you can see it got connected. So this is the thing over here, and after connecting to the user, if the user tries to do some activity or like creating the table or something, in such case also Oracle will not allow you directly. So let me show you that. Sorry. So you can see here, even after connecting to the database, if you try to create a table, it says insufficient privileges. So that means privileges are not there. So again, once again, you need to grant the permissions. So let me show the things. So we need to say grant create table. So now if you try to create the table, still it is not getting created, and it is saying there are no privileges on the table space users. So on the users table space, which is by default, will come along with the so you need to have the permissions on that table space, which will come along with the database creation. So until unless you have the quota specified, or until unless you have the permissions on this table space, it is not possible for a user to create a table or insert the data and all. So let me show you that thing. And to allocate the quota, you are going to use this command. So it is up to you. If you want, you can give any value. Oh, sorry. Users. So that means out of this users table space, I am allocating 5 MB to a user called Kanama. And now you can see the table will get created. So if you want a table to successfully get created, there are certain things that you need to follow. Number 1, you need to have create session permission. Number 2, you need to have create table permission. And number 3, you need to have quota on that particular table space. So that is how we are going to have the concepts. And point number 7 says, it is talking about something called role. Let's jump into point number 9. So point number 9 says, a role is a set of privileges which will reduce the risk of issuing many commands. For example, HR is a role in a company, and if that person left the job all of a sudden, then there will be some privileges assigned, and those privileges again should be carried forward to other person, like who is suitable for that role and all. So I mean HR will be having different set of permissions. Then when you take CEO or Chief CEO and COO, they will be having different set of celebration mechanism. So we have this role which is a set of privileges, and when you create the database, Oracle will come by default with so many roles, and two of such roles is connect and resource roles. So as per the 7th point, it says after creating the user, we should never grant connect and resource roles, and if it is 9A database, but in 10G we can grant connect role, because 10G connect role contains only one privilege inside, that is create session, and create session is the minimum privilege that you should give to the user in order to connect to the database. So anyway you can't avoid it. And the next 8th point says resource role internally contains unlimited table space privilege. So, and because of this it will override the quota which was granted earlier. So it should never be granted in real time until unless it is very much required. So until unless it is required, you should not go and use this particular or assign this particular resource role. And 9th point, just now we discussed it. A role is nothing but a set of privileges which will reduce the risk of issuing many commands. And 10th point, if you want to find out what are all the privileges assigned to a user, or what are all the roles assigned to a user and all, you can use these 6 views: db_sys_privs, then tab privs, role privs, then role sys_privs, role tab privs, and role one privs. So then you have comments on how to create a user, then how to grant the permission, all those things. So comments are very simple, like what we ran just now. And one more thing is, here you can see one command which says alter user1 quota 10 MB on my data. So one thing you need to remember is, when you say quota 10 MB on my data, it doesn't mean that you are going to reserve the space. So that space is not reserved or something, but that space will be allocated for you if at all you need some tables to be stored and all. So that is what the below note says. Allocating the quota doesn't represent reserving the space. If 2 or more users are sharing a table space, then quota will be filled up based on first come first served basis. So if you have a table space which is assigned across multiple users, then you need to have all the users quota on that particular table space for all the users, and also it would be in a first come first served basis. So whoever uses that 10 MB of space, it is up to them to go and increase the quota size. And then we have comments on how to change the default table space and temporary table space. Then how to check the default permanent and temporary table space for the particular user. And then we have commands on how to lock and unlock a user. So in which cases we will be using this locking and unlocking procedure is, suppose if an employee is leaving the organization, then we will be placing this account in a locker state. And sometimes what happens is, if the employee leaves the organization, within short time again they will join back. So in such scenarios, we can have this concept of account lock and unlock. So if you say lock, nobody would be able to access the database, or the user will not be able to connect to the database. And when you say unlock, then it can be used by, or the user can again connect, and they can issue some transactions. So that's what basically we have the concept of lock and unlock a user. And then in the next page you have commands on how to change the default table space, how to change the temporary table space, then how to find out the privileges. As I said, 6 views are there, so how we can make use of those 6 views. So all that information or commands are there. And finally, how to drop a user. You have two commands. If the user is empty, then you can say drop user username. But if the user is not empty and it is having some tables inside it or some objects inside it, then we are going to use the option called cascade. So anybody is having any queries? Okay. So let me show you that with example, Sanjay. Okay, so here I created one user called Kanna1, and on users I have issued 5 MB, isn't it? And now I will say grant connect comma resource to Kanna1, and here as you can see I connected as Kanna1 user, and let me grant one more privilege, grant select on spot.emp to Kanna1. And just like yesterday, I am creating some dummy table here. So as I said, here by allocating the quota, it means that this Kanna1 user should not use more than 5 MB on this table space. Is that right? Okay, so now let me show you the things. Okay. So I created one dummy table under Kanna1 user. Now using this command, I am going to check out how much size Kanna1 user is occupying, and let me take the table space name also. And can you see here under users it is using 5 MB, sorry 11 MB. So even though I specified 5 MB only, why this user is using 11 MB? It is because of this resource parameter or resource role, I say. And still you can do this, I mean still you can increase that. And now you can see 11 became 43. So even though we specified 5 MB clearly, how it is using 43 MB? It is because of this particular dangerous privilege. So resource will internally contain unlimited table space privilege, and because of that reason you will be landing up with these kind of situations. So that is the reason it is not recommended to use this resource role. Is that clear, Sanjay? So anybody is having any more queries? Uh, no, probably you are getting confused a little bit. Auto extend on is for table space level, and this is at the user level. Auto extend on is something like if your current table space size is full, then how much it need to grow further. But here for the user quota, we are going to specify the quota. That means if this quota is full, the user should stop the insertion. I mean, the user data should not be getting modified anymore. So that is at table space level, and this is at user level. No problem. So any more queries from anyone? Okay, so actually I just have a meeting now, so I need to stop today's session at this point of time. So we will continue with the rest of the topics tomorrow with profile management and auditing, all those things. So thank you everyone for joining the call, and let us meet tomorrow at the same time, and have a nice time till then.